welcome back to Property Matters on Dublin South FM and on iPropertyRadio with myself, Carol Tallon. You can contact us on social media at iPropertyRadio or email hello@iPropertyRadio.com. This week, I'm chatting to Hugo Deegan, a junior negotiator at Owen Reilly. Hugo is currently completing an apprenticeship at Owen Reilly, supporting both the sales and the letting teams. Hugo, you're very welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me on, Carol.
Hugo, I was so keen to speak to you because despite the fact that you've just done your leaving cert in the last couple of months, I have been aware of you for probably about a year, if not longer. I have never come across somebody so determined to get their foot into the property industry in Ireland. So tell us a little bit tell us about your background and where did this passion for the property market come from?
Yeah, so I come from a family with a strong work ethic and that have been very entrepreneurial and really encouraged me to do whatever I wanted from a young age. So around transition year, I was kind of looking into different career paths, see which way I kind of wanted to go, and stumbled across a state agency, honestly through watching YouTube videos, TikToks, and so forth. But yeah, I thought it would be something. I really like conversing with people. So I thought a career in a state agency would be great. So my passion grew from there, and I managed to speak to Regina Mangan of Liberty Blue down in Waterford, from where I'm from. And that was great because I was able to give her a call. My mom actually had a career in RTE and interviewed Regina many years ago. So I gave Regina a call and she was really helpful with giving me information and advice around the career and how I can get started.
Very good. Well, I think it's fair to say you're in good pedigree. Locally in Waterford, you were definitely introduced to the industry by one of the best in Waterford, and now in Dublin, you've joined Owen Reilly, again, one of the best in Dublin. So you've certainly launched your career on the right path. But tell me about the course that you're doing, the training, because I mentioned there that actually your role within Owen Reilly as junior negotiator, you're doing that through apprenticeship, and you're actually studying as well.
Yeah, so I'm studying 1 day a week on the Wednesday, which is just going into college. It's kind of split into different modules where it goes into economics, the business side of it, ICT, and there's many different valuations, of course, and many different topics. But it's great to learn the kind of theory side of it, and I'm getting the practical 4 days a week. So that's definitely really beneficial for me.
Has anything surprised you so far?
It's a lot more fast-paced up in Dublin, obviously, because there's a lot more transactions and it's a lot busier. But I'm loving it, to be honest.
Well, look, I think it's interesting. I love the apprenticeship model across all sectors and all industries. I think it's fantastic to be learning on the job as opposed to studying for a number of years, and then when you get out into the workplace, it's all new. It all needs to be essentially translated. So I think the apprenticeship model is such a super one, and you're coming into the industry at an interesting time. It's a challenging time, and you're right in the heart of it there, where you're working. So maybe talk to me about your expectations for a career in this industry. Is it residential or commercial that you really see yourself in?
Residential, I think, purely because I love conversing with people, and I like helping people. And of course, within the job, you'd find you're either selling a property for a vendor, which could be the biggest sale of their life or the biggest purchase of another's life. So you'd really have to handle it with care. And I enjoy helping people within the industry, of course.
Yeah, I love that you're bringing this back to property being a people industry, because of course it is. When we're busy, I personally get sucked into kind of the technology side of it, trying to make everything more efficient, more streamlined. And, sometimes it is good to have that reminder that actually for people, it's different when it's your day job, but for many people, this might be the only home that they buy or the only home that they sell. And it's not just about the property. There's a huge psychological element.
Yeah,
and where you're working at the moment, you're supporting both the sales and the letting teams.
Yeah.
Are you starting to develop a preference for either side?
I think sales I'd prefer, to be honest. The lettings is great, don't get me wrong, but I think the sales I'm more suited to. just being able to speak to people selling their homes. But I enjoy both greatly.
When you're speaking to people selling their homes, obviously you're just starting out in your career, so you haven't had to go through the process of selling a home, particularly not one that maybe you have raised your children in, or in some cases it might be as a result of marital breakdown or change in career, change in geographical location. Again, there's so much. When you sit down to speak to a vendor, are you finding it? How are you able to relate to those vendors? Is this something that's coming naturally to you?
Yeah, I mean, it can be difficult at times. I really have to put myself in the feet of the vendor, and but it's been great. I've been surrounded by a great team that give me great advice for, it is, as I said earlier, it could be the biggest sale or the biggest purchase. So it's definitely a great deal. But yeah, no, it does come fairly naturally to me, being able to understand where people are coming from, put myself in their shoes.
Um, what problems, what challenges are you seeing, maybe within the process of how we transact, how we buy and sell property in Ireland?
Yeah, that's a good question. On the letting side, there's obviously the rental market in Dublin has been found to be really dysfunctional over the last few years, but that's because a lot of different factors, high taxation, landlords exiting the market because of that, and you now have the eviction ban coming in. So there's a lot of different factors that play into the rental side being so dysfunctional.
Yeah, I can remember, gosh, nearly 20 years ago when I was transitioning from a background in law to property, when I was just on the periphery of the market, I could see nothing but problems. I could see nothing but challenges to be fixed, problems to be fixed, challenges to really be tackled. And, it's amazing over the years, when you're in the industry, sometimes you can be blind to those and you need the fresh eyes coming from outside. And that's why I think you coming in with a genuine passion for people and for this industry, really, my great hope is that you're part of the generation that will really address some of the entrenched problems, and maybe question and challenge some of the processes that just don't even make sense anymore. For example, in Ireland we still have this crazy situation where people pay a booking deposit that is legally binding on neither party. It doesn't have any impact. And we still need to wait to get to the stage of contract deposits. I mean, we're now gone past the stage where that's probably relevant. Are there things, when you look at the process and you're learning it from scratch, are you looking at it and seeing areas that just don't even make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you mentioned, the deposit, I'd look at that, especially coming from someone who hasn't had that much experience and is a new entrant into the property sector. I'd look at that and be a bit confused because, yeah, as you said, it's not legally binding. You can always have that money back. So it is a bit of a waste, I believe. But of course, I should have said probably at the start, if I say anything that's incorrect or anything, I'm only new to the market. So yeah, definitely be giving me a chance, I suppose.
Yeah, look, absolutely. And the thing is, you're saying that you don't have much experience, almost in a bit of an apologetic way, whereas actually I see huge value in you not being burdened with the experience, not being burdened with the how we've always done things. So actually, I'm a huge believer in people coming to a new sector, a new industry with fresh eyes. And sometimes that's people coming mid-career level, maybe from having been in a different sector and bringing that knowledge. But don't underestimate the power that fresh thinking can bring to any industry. In fact, I think, it is really not only the duty, but it's the opportunity of each new generation coming into a sector to look around and say, hey, listen, why are we doing this? That doesn't make sense. Are there other ways? Really challenge what's happening. And that's how industries get better. And arguably, after Ireland went through the property crash, there was an opportunity to fix things that wasn't available. We could have made things better over the past 12, 13, 14 years. And arguably, we probably didn't do it. Now, more has happened since COVID. And it's really interesting that you were coming into this industry during COVID period. So in terms of, that's going to be your baseline for viewings and, for virtual tours. And you mentioned there that a lot of your learning in this industry has been around TikTok. But of course, you're in the firm that is absolutely leading the field in terms of estate agencies on TikTok. So talk to me about the social media side and reaching out to maybe a new audience.
Yes, so TikTok's definitely a great way to market your business. I know Owen, my boss, is extremely active on TikTok and is the most followed TikToker in the property sector across Ireland. So TikTok does work. It does draw on business 100%, and it's an added way you can market a property, a new listing you might have. It's a great way that you can get more exposure and more eyes on the property.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Have you any exciting plans to kind of create change? Are you seeing any opportunities for change?
Yeah, definitely a few things. As you mentioned, the double deposit, but I feel it's a little early on my journey to give my opinion yet. As of yet, just I wouldn't have the knowledge just to be fully known what I would change if I were to change anything. But definitely in time to come, I'll be speaking publicly about things I'd like to change 100%.
Fantastic. And just back to the course that you're doing, what size is the class?
So we have, I believe it's about 24 in our class, and there are three different classes. So yeah, they're quite large classes.
And where is it in terms of diversity? I mean, gender-wise, male and female?
Yeah, it would actually be quite female dominated. I'd say probably 65 to 70% of the class is female. Talking about ages, myself, I'd probably be the youngest in the year, but there'd be, I think, 3 or 4 other Leaving Cert students that have just finished their Leaving Cert. But you'd have the age range leading all the way up to late 40s.
Amazing. So that's people coming in from other industries that are looking to change.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. Because look, and there's so many other facets to diversity beyond gender and age that and even technical backgrounds, that we really need to embrace in the industry. We haven't seen a huge spin towards a more diverse professional sector, but hopefully that's on the way. How long is the course?
The course is 2 years, and then I'll have my full license.
Excellent. And in terms of you mentioned there that part of that is economics and ICT. I have a huge interest in the area of ICT and technology. So are you being trained on any new technologies that you're excited about?
And actually not too much at the moment. Really, it's just learning the laws around technology, data breaches and everything like that in college. But yeah, they said that we'll be learning kind of different platforms and how people create the platforms and easier ways to get around, say, Reapit or Acquaint, different online platforms that are used with estate agents.
Very good. And before we finish up, I'd like to take a full circle there because, you talked about this being a people business, and of course it is. You might just share with us really, your ambition for how you're going to grow your career while really adding value to the people whose homes that you're being entrusted or whose investment properties that you're being entrusted with.
Yeah, so it 100% is a people's business, and there's a lot of trust that needs to be in with the estate agent and the vendor, and that's really upheld through communication, I believe, and constantly, picking up the phone, ringing the vendor. It might not be a WhatsApp, might not be sufficient for the chat you're about to have, but definitely picking up the phone, communicating with your vendor, keeping that trust there.
I think that's a great note to finish on. Look, the industry is certainly in safe hands. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us today. It's brilliant to hear the perspective of newcomers coming into the industry. And again, don't apologize for not having much experience. Remember, there's value and there's power in that. And it is absolutely okay to challenge things that you see in the industry that don't make sense, because honestly, the industry has been a little bit, and I include myself on that, we've been a little bit complicit in allowing bad processes to build up. And I think with the wave of technology, there's really an opportunity to get that right. So don't apologize for not having much experience. Turn that into your superpower to see opportunities to really make it better for the people that we're serving. At the end of the day, this is a service industry. So my thanks again to Hugo Deegan, junior negotiator with Owen Reilly. We need to take a quick break. Stay tuned.